Listening to voices, stories can be strange. It's good to open up to new stories and finding backstories of how people came to be, only to free the mind of what blinds us with only a glance gives us a chance to see people be who they truly are, from silent voices to shining light. Stories that inspire awareness and change. I welcome you to JessI's Stories, Unheard Voices. All right, Wren, if you could introduce yourself and what you do.
All right. Hi, I'm Wren Jones. I am a indie author. I write a lot of queer and witchy books.
Woo! Witchy rules and queer.
Yes.
Equally.
And
then what are you, or what? I can't even read what I wrote. What got you into writing cozy witchy books?
So I started writing cozy witchy books after my daughter was born. I was one of those true crime girlies for a bit there in my younger years. And I was trying to find something to listen to while I was feeding her and putting her down for bed and things like that. And I just couldn't do true crime anymore because I'm holding my baby daughter and I'm like, these are real people. And it just like, you always know they're real people, but it really affected me very deeply. And I was just like, so I started writing cozy witchy books after my daughter was born. I was one of those true crime girlies for a bit there in my younger years. And I was trying to find something to listen to while I was feeding her and putting her down for bed and things like that. And I just couldn't do true crime anymore because I'm holding my baby daughter and I'm like, these are real people. And it just like, you always know they're real people, but it really affected me very deeply. And I was just like, I can't consume this ethically anymore. So I started getting audiobooks that were cozy mysteries because I've always loved the Agatha Christie and those were cozy, the bad guy deserves it vibes, no on-screen deaths. And so I started reading a lot of those or listening to them in audio format when I was newborn days with her. And I've always been a writer. So I was like, you know what? I kind of want to write what I want to see. And I didn't see a lot of the witchy cozy mysteries with queer rep and characters that were going through things that I could relate to. And I thought that other people could relate to. So I decided to just write what I wanted to read.
I love that. That's a really good reason too. That's what I did, but with children's.
Yeah, you got to read what you would want to see out in the world.
Exactly.
Or write what you want to see out in the world.
Instead of going with everyone else wanting to see in the world. Because there are people out there. You do have your audience and your people. You just have to find them sometimes a little harder way to do it.
Yeah.
Like us.
Definitely. No, and I think when I started writing these books and intending to be published, because it was always a dream of mine, and I'm like, you know what, I'm actually going to do it. There are some people who are like, that's not going to sell as well. And I'm like, okay, I'm still going to write what I want and what I think the world needs and what people like me needed when I was younger too. And I found my dedicated reader base. I have people who I'm an auto-buy author for them, which is still crazy to hear. And it's because those stories matter.
Yeah, every story matters. And what does that word mean that you just said? Because I don't know.
Auto-buy. Oh, I've had people tell me I'm an auto-buy author, which means if I write it, they will buy it and read it.
Ooh, I love that. That's actually awesome. I didn't know that existed. That's pretty cool, honestly.
No, I was shocked when people have messaged me saying that, or they'll pick up my new book and be like, this is my auto-buy. And I'm like, really? Oh my God.
But what's your new book's name, just so everyone knows?
My new book is set to release in June 11th. So the podcast will be out and it'll be out in the world is of Swords and Starlight, which is a magical girl, but all grown up. So they're like Sailor Moon, but in graduate school.
I love that. And I love Sailor Moon vibes and witchy and the title period is great.
The title is, and there is so it's Sailor Moon vibes. They harness starlight and fight moon monsters. But one of the characters is very much a witchy. She makes spell bags and does rituals and things like that. So it still has a lot of the more witchy side to things.
Ooh, I love that. I'm excited about it. I've been keeping track of all your books.
Thank you.
And reading at least all the backs of them. I
Yeah.
will actually be reading them as we
I will send them to you.
I'm so excited. Okay. And are you secretly a magical witch? I feel that's an important question.
I feel like yes, and maybe not so secretly. I don't talk about it a lot, but I very much. Oh, sorry if my AC just turned on and is loud. So I very much am witchy, and I would classify myself as a witch. I believe in the power of ritual and the power of the placebo effect and of doing things with intention. So my practice is very much my own. I've borrowed from here and there and everywhere, but it's more to me about the ritual of it and the intention behind it. And I don't want to call it manifesting, but putting out the vibes that I would like and then making actions towards them with the ritual backing me up or my little talisman backing me up and things that I've put intentions into. And then I have rituals in mornings and evenings that I like to do, little cinnamon blows with my daughter and things like that. Very not secretly a witch, I would say.
Now it's going to be pretty public.
Now, yes, that's true. I don't talk about it a lot, but now everyone knows.
You're welcome, everyone.
Yes, exactly. Heard it here.
And I feel, at least, because I used to think that way, thinking that things were evil if you don't understand something, and rituals or using the word manifest, even coming from a cult myself. I think if it's used the way it was originally intended and not misused to coerce, I can speak English, coerce or bring people into your way of thinking one way or the highway, that it's not a bad thing. And people need to, in my personal opinion, take opportunities to learn other people's perspectives. That's why I, for fun, put that question in there.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. Like we were saying before we started recording, you and I are both, like we said, lifelong learners and students. And so it's important to learn as much as you can and see other people's perspectives on things. And I think that the idea of ritual and manifesting, when these things that have been adopted by people who do mean to harm others, is a sad thing to see. But if you are doing it for your own practice and you're not bothering anybody, you're just doing what you need to do to get through the day, I think it's a really beautiful thing.
Exactly. And if there isn't any bad written articles about you or docuseries or just using examples, because I know who also listens.
Yeah.
So docuseries or lots of people had same experiences that were bad. Then, for a matter of fact, people should pay attention to those sides of things and perspective wise. The thing with so much misinformation today, I feel it's important that we pay attention to both sides. There is a healthy side, because I used to not believe there was a healthy side, but I've healed a lot in my own journey. I've learned that there is a healthy side, that there is a difference between toxic, stay away, run away.
Run away, yes.
And then there's healthy, and then there is something in between of toxic and healthy that you have to really decipher on your own. Is it worth it? Is it not?
Absolutely. Yeah. And I think that can be a danger too with a witchy practice sometimes is some people do fall into a magical thinking, which can be dangerous for them. And so it's just something to, if you're going to practice anything, you have to have an open mind to what other people believe and what you believe and how you may be incorrect sometimes, or maybe you're falling too far into something that's no longer mentally healthy for you. And so I think that's an important thing. I think, totally side note, my day job is I'm a high school English teacher. Yes.
I love that.
I'm a huge, critical thinker. And I believe in teaching the kids how to do that. And so one of the things that I always focus on is when they're like, I already know English. I'm like, I'm not teaching you English. I know you know how to speak English. I'm teaching you how to think critically and communicate clearly, because you need to do that no matter what you do. I don't care if you want to be a beach bum or you want to be a CEO. You have to do both those things in order to be healthy and not be swindled by people. So I'm just trying to make sure you don't get taken advantage of out there. And so I think that's a huge thing, is just keeping that critical thinking cap on. But like we were talking about earlier, it's easy to fall in when people misuse that stuff as well, which is a danger.
It is. And it's very common for high control groups or cults, because they're the same thing, no matter which word you use, just like brainwash or coercive control. Same thing, different word. That you can get to know words like love, that can be misused. That was misused in the cult I was in. And I will continue calling them the cult because it bugs them and it's fun. And
I watched that documentary. It's a cult and they do harmful practices and they hurt people. That's
bottom line.
Yeah.
There you go. Confirmed. This is someone who's just talking to me today. So there you go.
Wren Jones says it's a cult, so it must be true.
And on top of it, and there's articles. I wrote an article before articles became a thing about them, of writing bad articles about them, including their own doing of inviting Vanity Fair into their house, their own doing of it's a cult. That was one of the bigger steps into it.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So paying attention, like I said, to those right now, thanks to our current government officials. I don't know how to word it in a non-great way.
Yeah.
Current government people that are great. They do the same thing. They have made it so hard for us to decipher between misinformation and true information, and upped the ante of misinformation that most people, if you aren't paying attention to your sources, are finding misinformation and being misinformed and not getting the true story. That's why it's good to check for independent newspapers or anyone not owned by the current government, because they currently own a lot of the information coming out right now. Just paying attention to those things and not believing everything you read and taking the time to do that. I've been saying this far before this government existed, but make sure to check out your first source, your backup source, your third source, and keep going back until you find the source's source.
Yeah.
Go
to the actual source.
It works because there is. You can definitely do it. You just have to keep clicking in. I know because I do this with everything I do, including social media posts. I click into the next to make sure it's okay. And if it's AI, it doesn't make it bad. Just make sure the AI source is a correct source.
Make sure that it's the correct source, exactly, because it can pull things from stuff that's not accurate. And I think especially with the amount of misinformation that we have now, it's so funny because a lot of people are like, oh, it's so difficult now. And I was like, no, it was always difficult. If you were doing things properly and you were researching the way you should, it was still difficult back then too. Before we had the whole waterfall of misinformation, there was still misinformation out there. And with my students, they'll come to me sometimes and be like, oh my God, did you hear this thing? And I'm like, did you run that through the crap test? Is it current? Is it accurate? Is it relevant? Who's the source? What's the reason? Run it through the test. And they're like, I didn't. And I'm like, can you go do that now? And they're like, yes.
Like the crap test. Everyone can do the crap test. Everyone listening, do what Wren said. Do the crap test.
Current, accurate, relevant. What is the purpose that they wrote it? Are they trying to sell you something? Are they trying to convince you of something? Everyone's trying to sell you or convince you of something. What's their motive? So yes, you heard it here. Run it through the crap test before you go spreading misinformation or information.
I give it the thumbs up. I give it double thumbs up.
Me too.
And on top of that, even having real authors writing. I don't like the AI aspect of AI writing stories when we already exist, which I get that with voice acting and everything else, that we humans exist. And I believe AI's purpose is meant for other things, not replacing humans, but maybe voices for those who don't have voices.
Yes, I think if you're using it for things like that, where it's people with certain disabilities or whatever that they cannot communicate, it's a really useful tool. And that's all AI should be, is a tool. It should not replace humans or replace creativity, or it should make our lives easier, right? But not easier in the things that we should be struggling with. And I think that's an important thing that people are missing out on, is that there are some things that are worth the struggle, like writing, like acting, like creating art. That is the human purpose, is to struggle through that and to create. We don't need AI to do that. What we might need AI to do is, like you said, give voices to people who are nonverbal, to give voices to people who cannot communicate the way that they need to. And that is not replacing a struggle that humans should go through. No human should struggle with that. And this is a tool to help them. It's not a tool to help you struggle through the things you're supposed to struggle with.
Exactly. And it's about meeting basic needs. People seem to not understand that.
Yeah.
Because if you were to walk into a grocery store and you needed an apple and you couldn't say, can I get that apple? That's a basic need right there. If you don't have that voice, or if you don't have a caregiver or some source of support, that makes it hard. And with people with disabilities, because of financial reasons and thanks to the current government, it's even worse. They already had financial issues. Most can't work anyways. It's harder to find resources that are accessible and available and are becoming harder actually now today. People should definitely know that. It's becoming harder. So, yeah. If you were to, I'm trying to think of another example. I always use grocery store because everyone does, if you're not rich, goes to the grocery store. But even going to school, like if you want to raise your hand, but you don't have that ability to raise your hands, you could have a seeing eye gaze machine.
Sure.
To say me without raising your hand, but it's a voice saying me, and that is an AI voice saying me.
Yeah. Exactly. And that's, like you said, a basic need being met, right? I'm a public school teacher. Education is for everybody. Food is for everybody. These are things that we all deserve to have. We all deserve to feel comfortable with. And so if you're giving a voice to somebody who cannot ask a question, like you said, in a classroom, they can't raise their hand. I would love to hear an AI, me, like, yeah, let me come help you. Because it's difficult. Otherwise, it's like you said, just have these basic necessities, basic needs. And so I think there's a place for AI. It's just not in the creative spaces. And that's
correct. Except there is one side of that because of my day job, as we talked about with working with kids with disability. We do use AI for them to tell a story. Sure. So if they can't speak, AI can, in fact, do the story. They just need to say a few words, even if it's with AI into AI. Sometimes it's that way, AI into AI. Yeah. Or if they have only a few words available of the, me, hi, but then it's something. And then they can see it come to life and see their expression happen. Just like, here's another example of creativity in AI. So if you don't have the ability to move your hands, there might be like a claw machine. I can't describe it. I don't know what it's actually called. I probably should learn it, but I forget.
That's okay.
So you have a paintbrush that is an accessible paintbrush because most of the time people that have something that's helping them hold something, that is AI most of the time, whatever the grip is, helping them paint. So that's another idea of the use creatively to AI. See the little toxic / medium of healing in both of non-toxic and toxic. So with me, there is a certain line of humanity that I fully agree with.
Totally.
And then a certain line of AI helping those who anyways don't have those resources, being able to have those resources because they never had them in the first place. They didn't exist. And now they exist. So there is the certain line because people with disabilities have stories to tell and they don't always have the resources to tell those stories.
Absolutely. I think that there's nothing is ever black and white, right? So we can't just blanket statement on everything. There are some things that are black and white, right? So
there are, yeah, absolutely.
Don't murder, but but for the most part, when we talk about nuance of innovation or creativity or expression, there's nuance there, right? And I think that an important thing for us all to do is not only, like I said earlier, to think critically, but also to think with nuance and be open to nuance and hear other people's perspectives on these things, because it's very easy for me, who is able-bodied and able to work at a computer for long hours, to say, oh, you should do that. I can stay up late. I have the ability to. I can use my hands. I have that ability that a lot of people don't have. And so there's nuance to everything with those kind of details versus just staunchly being like 100% never, no, I won't change my mind.
Like, correct. Yeah. I love how you worded that.
Yeah.
And I like that we both got to go on a random rant too.
Oh my gosh, yes. I'm sorry. I rant a lot.
No, I love that. I purposely hope that it happens each time. And when it naturally happens, it's even better. Oh my goodness. Oh, wait. And then I have randomly back. What's your favorite book that you wrote so far?
Ooh, so that is... Okay. I would either say the new one that I just launched, Swords and Starlight, is really fun. And it's just a blast. But I would also say that probably the third, Practical Potions. And I know that one might be a little divisive only because they leave their little small town and go somewhere else. And some people weren't quite expecting that. But I really liked the healing that happens in that book between the main characters, and they all get their final arcs in that. And those characters mean so much to me that I think it was just a really good conclusion for them. And so I would say those two are probably my two favorite.
And what are those two names? Because I know your character names by heart. I don't think people listening will either.
That's probably fair. So my favorite right now is Of Swords and Starlight, which is the magical girl book coming out. And then also Practical Potions and Paranormal Proclivities, which is a mouthful. All of those books are a mouthful. But that's the third one in the Practical Potions Mysteries series. And it's the third and final installment. I'm going to do little side stories that I'll send out to my newsletters on October and things like that. But for now, their novels are done.
Exciting. And I did take part in the Kickstarter for the dinosaur one. I don't know when that's coming, but I'm excited about that.
The books are finally at the warehouse. So the tariffs and a lot of other kind of shenanigans got in the way of a couple of things getting to where they need to go. But we've got them in the warehouse now. So they're putting them all together. And luckily, I was working with Merrick on that. So they handled the actual shipping because I could not imagine having 900 hardcover books in my house right now. Putting all of that together in the book boxes is my ADHD brain cannot. So I'm glad that they're handling it. But it is in the warehouse now, so it's in queue to be shipped out soon. And that one is a delightful book, but it required so much research, and almost none of it went into the actual book. I love that book, but it's just one of those things where I'm like, gosh, I read so much about Regency customs and outfits and expressions and swear words and what kind of ships did they have, and then like all these stuff about I know so much about dinosaurs now.
Love that.
I know.
You know about a Bronchosaurus, because that's my invisible friend from childhood. The Bronchosaurus.
The Bronchosaurus.
I can finally actually say it. It took me forever to learn which one it was. That's a long neck dinosaur. That's my friend Scaly from childhood.
Why was that one your friend?
I don't know. When I was little, because I didn't make friends as easily, I made myself an invisible friend that we would play out on the field together with. He was he named Scaly, a blue, big Bronchosaurus that could also shrink down and dance with me when needed. He had shrinking and going up abilities, and I could ride him, and yeah, I have a lot of memories as a child with him, besides my dog.
I just love that so much. He sounds delightful.
Figured I'd be even more public about what. Sorry.
Have you read Damsels and Dinosaurs yet?
No, but I love the dinosaur on the cover, therefore I automatically did the Kickstarter.
Fair enough. The special editions are gorgeous, first of all, because I did get the proof and it's beautiful. But you're going to love it because there's a tiny T-Rex named Reggie, and he's basically a Pokemon. He follows them around.
Oh my gosh, I'm obsessed with Pokemon.
Exactly. So it's dinosaurs, but they're Pokemon, right? They don't have powers, but they are sentient. They can understand most of the time. And you're going to actually, if you had an imaginary friend dinosaur as a kid, this book is for you. You're gonna.
And I got the special edition too. That was the first thing I went towards. I looked at all the tiers. I went, what's one that I literally go based off of if I'm supporting another writer, which I've done multiple ones who've ended up on my podcast. If I'm doing that, I have to make sure to go towards the one and that was the one I most liked. I liked everything that came with it.
That is literally, this book is for you. That's exactly, you're who I wrote it for. Kids who love dinosaurs, and that's perfect.
Name's Scaly, but that was the only one. I still hyperfixate on Scaly, which I'm gonna have to write in my memoir all because of how hyperfixate.
I do think you need to write down that you're gonna put Scaly in there. Make sure that goes in there.
I will. I'll just write that down.
My long neck dinosaur in there is named Francesca, but she does wear a bonnet. She's very cute.
Isn't Francesca the one on the cover then?
That one is Reggie, but a lot of them were bonnets. The velociraptors are like yay sized, and they have little straw hats, and they keep garden pests away. So
I love all the storyline of it, period.
Yeah, it's really about that. It's actually a very fun one. The only reason it's not my favorite is just because when I think about it, I'm like,
all the research.
Oh my God, that was so much research. Oh my God, none of it made it into the book. Oh my God, no one knows how I'm an expert in Regency era.
You should just randomly start doing facts. I love random facts. And on top of that, I have to do so much, I guess, research technically, because I have to check dates, which thankfully media has all that for me. But I have to check dates, when certain things happen, if I find those specific, I have to really put a lot of brain power into my brain. And in order to do that, I just have to type out.
Mm-hmm.
But going then forward in time and forwards in time, because that's the way I'm writing my memoir. It's very, well, right now it's just forward in time. We'll see if I go back at anytime soon, but right now it's forward. But it's just a process and a lot of information. So I get it I learned all of that. But I think in my case, it might end up being a little different feeling.
Maybe. Hopefully. Look back on it more fondly.
Yeah, I think it's going to be very fun. In my personal opinion, but you know the actual reason why.
I do.
Yes, indeed. Okay. Oh, here's a fun one that falls into what you pretty much were almost talking about. How do you develop your characters? You can talk about any characters from any of your books or all of them. It's up to you.
So how I develop my characters, I was always like a writer, and even before I could write, I was like a storyteller as a kid. And it's gonna sound crazy almost, but like I just would create people, like it kind of like Scaly, right? Like I would create like imaginary people and like get to know their personalities and like talk to them and stuff. So like as a kid, I would create like character charts, and like I would do every little backstory about them, and like what do they fear, what's their favorite like, snack food, and just get to know characters that came to me really, really well. And then I would start to do like exercises as a teenager where I would put characters that I had created for my novels in unfamiliar situations. So like I was writing like a dystopia when I was a teen, because of course I was. And I had them be like in modern worlds ordering a sandwich together, and just like how do they all talk to each other, and how do I make their voices as distinct as possible. And so I just became very familiar with like that process. And now as an adult, I don't need to necessarily go through all of that in order to understand who they are. I just kind of create like, like, okay, I really like this kind of personality. I want them in this story. And then they come to me, like I get to know them without all of the processes of creating character charts and making them talk to each other. They just kind of develop their own voices instinctually. My subconscious is very good at that, I guess. So, yeah, I would say like a lot of what people like about my books that I've heard is the characters and how real they feel and how they interact with each other, and like how distinct they all are from each other. And I think that that's kind of where I excel, just because I've been working on that since I was a child.
Very much so. With me, at least. Because I do have technically a four queer sapphic book in the works that I haven't written back to yet. I plan on doing it eventually, but memoir first. But like with my character development, at least I first write
Mm-hmm.
the actual book itself, and then I let the character develop naturally in the story. So I unexpectedly take turns without knowing it, just like actually in my memoir too, the same exact thing happened, but unexpected turns just happen, and I let the development happen from there.
Yeah. If you let your kind of subconscious do a lot of the work for you, that first draft can take you in weird directions, but it ends up you get to know the characters really well.
Yeah, and even in ways you didn't expect. And of
Absolutely.
course, at least to me personally, I believe every single author, every single filmmaker, every single storyteller of any kind, it doesn't matter whether you're just a social media storyteller or whatever your focus is in storytelling, since storytelling's everywhere. I believe that there is a part of yourself or your significant other or people in your lives are there in your story in some sense without you knowing it most of the time.
Yeah, definitely most of the time, I would say. Even if you don't see it, sometimes other people even point it out to you, and you're like, oh, I guess that is kind of like that person, or that is kind of me. Yeah, for sure.
Like you as the author are always in there. I know that for a fact, at least with every book I've read, like with Rebecca Thorne, without even reading fully into her book, I had already figured out who was who in the story. So I even had one personal question of asking her if that was her significant other and her, and she said, yeah, it was. I liked how bluntly honest she was, but yeah. And I feel like with every story that as an author, and especially, at least thankfully to me personally, I believe queer authors are more honest in who they're writing about versus straight, at least in my personal experience.
Well, I feel like being queer kind of inherently you have to have that level of honesty. I feel like, because you're honest with yourself and your identity. And you have to do that so many times throughout your life over and over again. And so I do think you inherently are very honest about who you are and what you're about. If you're a storyteller and you're queer, this is something that you've faced your entire life. And the different challenges that come with those two things, I think, necessitate a kind of openness.
Yeah, like hate you definitely get. I know I've gotten just for my children's book, people thought that I was culting them into pronouns, which I didn't know that hurt children, but apparently that hurts children learning pronouns, so it's literally part of the education system. But I did point that out to a few people that left hate. I said, do you use she, her, he, him pronoun? They, them?
Would you like me to respect that? Like, and I think it's funny because, I'm an English teacher, like they, them, singular is used. Like that's not a new thing. That's not a new concept. This is not. No. So, when people are like, that's multiple, I'm like, it's not actually. So you're incorrect.
Correct. Yeah, I like that you pointed that out.
Yeah.
Very much so. Well, it's fun also, at least with the one commenter that I did this to, their response was, huh? And what do you mean? I said, it's literally part of the education system. Do you have children? Have you ever gone to school? Do you use pronouns to introduce yourself? As in, just like, hi, I'm... Some people, at least it's becoming a little more common to do he, her, him, she, they, them.
I appreciate that people have it more open and like in their bios and things like that. I think that's really helpful. And it's like a symbol to other people too, that this is like a thing that we should be open about, and I think that that's part of, being an advocate for other people is, doing those things and including that kind of language.
Yeah, and talking about it too openly. And that's why my podcast exists purposely, is talking about the hard stuff and talking about the things that are uncomfortable, even publicly. A lot of people, at least that I've had on here, we've dived into conversations where I know fear was a little bit in them and myself, but we faced it during the interview process and it became public, and it educates people that way. As the truer to yourself you are, the truer to... I don't know how to word it correctly. The truer to yourself, period, you are in an interview, even with fear and facing it.
Absolutely. And I think that there is a lot to be said for facing your fear publicly too. And I think because I do work with kids, you have to be a model for that kind of thing, and to show people that it's okay to do it scared, and that it's that it can be scary to share your truth, I think, and to dive into topics that make us uncomfortable is an important thing. And I just think that like modeling that is really important. So to me, that's invaluable, to be scared and do it anyway.
Yeah. Like with me, my first step at doing that was the docuseries. I was scary, telling the world, hey, I was in this. Here's some of my story, because some of it did make it into the docuseries. I'm thankful not all of it did, so I could take the opportunity to better educate people with it. But that was my first step of facing my fears, but it was on a pretty global level.
That's Netflix. Trial by fire. Yeah.
Yeah, by literal fire. But I'm thankful for the opportunity, and I'm thankful I had that chance, because I had so many, not only parents because of my mom portion in the docuseries, but families, people of some members that are still in there. They reached out to me, and a lot of people that are queer reached out to me, and wanted to better educate themselves and wanted to better understand things, which was great. I love, especially all the queer. I had a lot of non-binary, which I love, reach out to me, and yeah, I wouldn't have had that opportunity if I wasn't on there.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so thank you, Cecilia and Inbal. I'm sorry I didn't do it right away, but autism, I can't blame it in this case.
But no, I think that's really, that's cool that you did that. And I think that's important.
Thank you. And thank you for continuing to be so open too. And I have another question for you. Do you have any work you are working on right now, book-wise?
I am kind of working on a Damsels and Dinosaurs 2. Yeah. So
You
I
should put Scaly in there, just in
I
my personal opinion.
I definitely am gonna put Galen in there. He's gonna be blue.
Okay.
And I don't know if I can make him shrink, but maybe I can find a way to science that.
I think you
Like-
can. I believe in you fully, completely, because Scaly needs to be in there.
No, absolutely.
You know,
He does. Yeah. No, we're
as
gonna.
long as he's a blue bronchitis dinosaur with the ability to shrink and get big, you add whatever you want to that.
I am
I give you
obsessed.
full permission publicly, right?
Thank you. I appreciate that. That's actually so kind. I'm sure he'll steal the show. Of
Sure. Well, it's Scaly. He's my buddy for a while.
course. Yeah. Top notch. No, I think that's awesome. I'm gonna try to. I'll work on like a shrink ray somehow. I can
Keep
make this.
me updated. I'm totally
you.
buying it automatically.
That's your auto buy book.
Yes, it is. Absolutely. You just need to put Scaly in it. See
Perfect.
how it works.
I got you. Yeah.
You did. Already. Now I look forward to it.
Yeah.
See, everyone buy her second book automatically to find Scaly. We'll see what she does with him.
I don't know. I got to make him like kind of important somehow too. I've got the wheels turning. I got this.
Hey, Rose, I did it. I'm so excited about that. Oh my gosh. It's like Christmas. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm very easy to please.
That's a good way to live life, honestly, though. Like, we're only here a short time. It's just, you got to have fun.
Absolutely. It's fun to play with things and ideas. You're the perfect person to do Scaly because I don't have a book besides just adding in my memoir but publicly already on my Unheard Voices, but that's not as in-depth as you can go.
I don't know. I think a kid's book about Scaly would be pretty cute.
I have been having that idea. Maybe I should follow through with that. Now I'm going to write that down before I back down from that idea. One minute.
You're writing it down.
I'm holding myself accountable.
It's good.
All right. Daily children. Coming. Well, Scaly's going to be queer in this case. Coming to a bookstore near you when? I have no idea. Super Gay first has to go through its round of Kickstarter with this.
I love that.
Because the book's already published, but
Yeah.
I need to
I love the Super.
get the finances so we can have this for children so they can have Super Gay.
I love that. When's your Kickstarter launching? Do you know?
Near the end of June, I had to finish coming up with, I'm having trouble with tears. So if you have advice, please let me know and send me messages. I don't care. Email, IG, I don't care. Help. I need help.
I got you. I'll brainstorm some things. Yeah, and I'll look because I've backed a couple of like little plush toys and stuff before, so I'll do some brainstorming for some tiers for you.
Well, I am adding the book as one tier, and then for a stretch goal to 8,000, I'm adding the second book to Super Gay because it's already written, and I have some of the beginning stuff already done, like the cover, and I think like 3 or 4 pages in. But in order to make the second book be published, we have to make it to the stretch goal. So I did at least come up with that, but I'm having trouble with going higher in tiers because I'm making as high as possible and the other 3 tiers in between to the highest. So it's a challenge. And the fact that there's not anything like this, I checked all over Kickstarter for something like this. And with a children's book like that, I'm the first of my kind to do it.
That's really cool.
So that's why I said help. I've been asking some comics since it's similar to comic. I asked some, you'll see them on here. Actually, they'll probably come after you. They're queer comic book authors. I've asked them for help too, and they've helped me at least with the beginning brainstorm, but with my processing skills, that's why I don't have any shame in asking for help. So help.
I got you. Oh, for sure. Yeah, if you send me, what would help me is send me an email with what the tiers you have right now, and then I'll brainstorm how to make them awesome.
Email. I'll do that.
Yes,
and as long as you're okay with this also being, because I keep it pretty raw, so Unheard Voice. Okay. So you get full credit for helping me too.
I got you.
I appreciate it.
Mhm.
But it is coming near the end because I wanted to keep it on Pride, so it's going to still be in June, but it will start near the end.
Okay.
I have to actually get everything set up, which is a process alone.
That is true. But it'll be good. You can carry the Pride month through. That'll be nice to end. Good high note.
to start it at the end sometime in June. I want it to go for at least a month or longer because I want everyone to have the chance to know. And of course, the podcast is introducing them to it to come.
That's true.
Yeah. Thank you, Wren. I appreciate all your help. You're awesome.
Oh,
So I'll do an email, and I'll also I guess I can also send you my address through email too at the same time.
Yeah, for the books. Perfect. Yeah. That'd be great.
Okay, and then my next question for you, which is an important one, is how do you find balance as a mom and an author? Because that's a lot of work.
Yeah, it is. I would say balance is not my strong suit. So, I'm a high school teacher and I primarily teach international baccalaureate literature and language, which is like the kind of global school. And we have things called learner profiles. And so I'm always like, bringing it back to those. And one of them is balanced, and that's my weakest. Because I kind of steam through everything. I'm very bold about like when I want something, I go and snatch it. So for me, like balancing is tricky. And I lose out on a lot of sleep is the big one. So, I have my day job and then kids stuff. And then after they go to bed, I'm up writing, or I will wake up early to do that. So it's, I try to be present when I am with my kids. I'm with my kids, and with my students, I'm with my students. But I'm very fortunate in that I don't need as much sleep. I don't need a full 8 hours. If I get a full 8 hours, I do feel groggy. So, I kind of treat it as like a night job. So I like kind of clock in after the kids are in bed, and then I do my writing, do all that stuff, and then clock back out and go to bed.
I like that. Yeah. Balance is hard to figure out. With me, I think I've found somewhat, I'm not saying fully, definitely somewhat of a balance. So, well, the social life part is the harder one for me. Like I can go into work, even my unpaid work. So podcasts, writing, building my business, getting Kickstarter going. There's a lot going on behind the scenes right now, but doing all that, and then my day job, which is exhausting, and the fact that now there's more hours because it's summer. With me, it's figuring out a time that doesn't mentally strain me before work. So I've been writing at night lately, or I do mornings if I have more energy. It all just depends on my abilities, and then having the energy to be social because autism. But ADHD,
Well, and when
no
you're
problem.
doing a million things too, it's hard to have the battery to be social also. So, I would say that like balance for me is tricky because like sleep goes to the wayside, and so does my social life sometimes. Like I'm very lucky to have friends who stick with me through times where I'm like, I'm going into a hole for 2 weeks. Bye. Like, and then I kind of come back and I'm like, hello, I'm back. What happened? So I'm very fortunate that I have friends that have stuck with me for years, of me kind of cycling through that, which is really, I'm just very lucky.
Same. I have friends like that too. Well, I have two really close ones because I tend to keep the ones that know me the best, closest, and that handle my info dump well, though I tend to make friends with the ones that I info dump to. Fun fact. So you know that.
I love that.
At least my two really close ones, they both have that same idea too. Well, one I actually work with during the day who technically is my boss, but we at least have a dynamic of we're at work. This is a work relationship right now. Oh, we're not at work. This is not a work relationship right now. And then my other one, we like have known each other since we were 4 years old. So it's a little different dynamic. But they both, and she's a mom. So there's that. See, I understand that aspect. I got that perspective with my best friend. And I do count my other friend as a best friend too. But they both, yeah, they understand that because they struggle with balance too. But with me personally, I like to keep a social life. So I try to plan ahead of if I can with them at the time, because sometimes I can't. At least with my mom best friend, it's a little harder. But with my friend, yeah, I work with. Go ahead. I was just saying with my friend I work with, it's a little easier because we see each other at work. And I could just ask up front. I normally do it if I'm clocked out before I clock in. Yeah. I always tell her I'm clocked in, therefore I can do this.
I actually love that so much.
And then she goes, okay. And it's funny, our dynamic, because her and she'll know now I'm talking about her. You're welcome, friend Michelle. I said your name, huh? Anyway, with her, we have a lot of sass. We're sassy together. And it's funny because everyone at work laughs at us because we are so sassy. And now they think they could go and do it to me too, thanks to her. But that's okay. I'm fine with it since we're both in authority roles at our job.
That kind of works out then, I guess.
Yeah, it's pretty hilarious because now they give me a hard time because she gives me a hard time. And I give it right back to all of them.
As you should. Yeah, that's part of a loving relationship sometimes is being sassy to each other.
Oh, yeah, the sass is high between Michelle.
I love that.
Well, at least if we both have the energy too. If we don't, it's pretty much a high. Goodbye.
At least you know that with each other. It's good to have a friend that you also have that dynamic where you don't always have to be one thing. You can just be like, I'm tired today. And they're like, cool.
Yeah, we even have FU days where that word literally comes out of our mouth.
I love that.
Yeah, I told you we're sassy. Like, versus if I compare my other friends, Katie, I can at least say their names. No one knows their whole legal names. But Katie, like, with her, it's a little softer. Like, there's not, well, yeah, Katie has sass. I know she's got a lot more inside of her, but she's well, Michelle's also, they're equally like that. They're both very kind human beings, sweet, caring about everyone, human beings, but they express it a little differently. But they're also like the same person. I've told them both that multiple times because they both like a lot of the same things and do a lot of the same exact things. I've even told Michelle, whatever I tell you, I have to tell Katie because I know you're both going to do the same thing.
Love that.
But even though, like, yeah, one's a mom, one's not, they're the same level, same everything. It's hilarious, actually.
Really cool. I kind of love that.
Yeah, but yeah, like, I know Katie has sass deep inside her. I've seen it come out, but she suppresses it. So I hope someday it comes fully out. And Katie, I hope you're listening to this if you have time.
Yeah,
I know
let the sass out.
Michelle listens to this, but I don't know yet.
This is our test. Katie, text right away.
Yeah. You're being tested, Katie, and make sure to go on social media, please, Katie. And Michelle, you know why. They don't do social media.
That's awesome.
Michelle's in better. She gets full credit for that. But anyway, my next question for you is, where can people find you on social media and everywhere so they can follow you and support you? And if you have any Kickstarters or anything coming up, please let them know.
For sure. So yeah, you can find me on Instagram at Wren Jones Sprites. And I'm no longer on TikTok. Don't. That gave me the ick, and I have not gone back.
It is icky.
It is icky. So that is where I'm most, predominantly on is Instagram. I post on there pretty regularly. I have a newsletter, and I don't do monthly updates or anything like that. It's just very important information only. And then some like short stories that are going to be coming out about the Practical Potions characters if you like them. And then a Kickstarter, I'm thinking about doing one for the new book of Swords and Starlight just because it's so pretty. I think it would make a really pretty special edition, but I don't have a date for that yet.
That's so exciting. Keep me up to date on that.
I will. I'll let you know because the cover itself is so beautiful. I'm like, oh, I could do so many things. Holographic edges. Foiling.
Sparkles. You got to do rainbow sparkles.
More character art. Like, I was just, this is going to be great. So I don't have a date for that yet, but I do hope to get all my ducks in a row and launch that eventually.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for being here, Wren.
Thank you so much. I really appreciated your time and just having me on. And this has been really, really wonderful. Thank you for making me feel so comfortable.
Yay. I'm excited about that. And for those listening, if you haven't already, please, please, please go leave a 5-star review. Listening, whatever you listen to. I know with Spotify, if you listen once, you can leave a review. Help bring in more listeners. Or if you have friends, have them join. Or Wren, if you know anyone to do the same.
No, I'm going to be sharing this everywhere. And yeah, I mean, like my sister has a podcast as well. So I know how important it is to do the ratings. So yeah, give this one 5 stars because it's so good. And comment, engage, share it, all that stuff. So help it out.
For that support too. I appreciate it. Yay. Okay. Now we will do